Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Matt Simpkins, and I'm a management analyst here at the City of Oxnard, and I help manage the cannabis program. This evening, the Planning Commission will be considering two items: amendments to chapters 11 and 16 of the Oxnard City Code and implementing commercial cannabis cultivation regulations. This is pertaining to planning and zoning permit number 23-580-02. Address changes needed as a result of implementation of the city's existing cannabis regulations, and create new regulations to permit indoor commercial cannabis cultivation in up to 6 locations in the city. The city is working on cannabis regulations, permitting, and compliance processing since mid-2018. The city has concluded its licensing process for cannabis retail dispensaries, manufacturing, distribution, and testing laboratories. The city's selected licensees are either in the process of submitting their plans for review, in plan check, or in the process of conducting tenant improvements, or have opened their operations. The Oxnard City Code allows for 16 retail dispensaries, 8 manufacturing licenses, 3 distribution licenses, and 1 testing laboratory license. The proposed amendments to chapters 11 and 16 of the Oxnard City Code create new regulations for commercial cannabis cultivation and permit up to 5 indoor commercial cannabis cultivators in specific areas where existing commercial cannabis operators are currently permitted. The proposed amendments to chapters 11 and 16 address minor code changes determined necessary as a result of implementation of the city's existing commercial cannabis regulations. The city initially provided direction in 2020 to allow up to 2 indoor or outdoor cannabis cultivators. Early this year, the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee voted 3-0 in favor of allowing only indoor commercial cannabis cultivation and increasing the number of commercial cannabis cultivation licenses from 2 to 5. The committee also was supportive of expanding the location where indoor cannabis cultivation is permitted to be in the same locations where commercial cannabis manufacturing, distributing, and testing is allowed, not including the Rose Santa Clara corridor specific plan area. So the next few slides will give a summary of the minor proposed zoning text amendments to chapter 11, which involves updating the definition section. Changes align with the state's new department title for the department responsible of the oversight of cannabis, removal of definitions which have been found to be unnecessary, updating the cannabis employee permit section, changing the duration of the employee work permit valid from 12 to 36 months in collaboration with the police department, update commercial cannabis business permit procedure, changes to reflect the established permitting process to secure a commercial cannabis business permit, and update the renewal of the commercial cannabis business permit, identification of documents to renew a commercial cannabis business permit on an annual basis, helping streamline the process. Other amendments to chapter 11, updates to the transfer of the commercial cannabis business permit, clarifying the existing code intent of change of control, updates to the certification from the community development director. The changes reflect already established processes, and update miscellaneous operating requirement changes to be consistent with already established signage requirements, and update other operational requirements, changes to allow for a minor modification of an SUP or a DDR, minor modification that does not intensify the use of the parcel or have any additional adverse effect on an abutting parcel or the general health, safety, or welfare. Finally, updating operating requirements for storefront retail facilities, inclusive language that memorializes the city's existing practice that allows downtown projects the ability to pay a downtown parking management in lieu fee, update operating requirements for retailers with delivery services, clarifying the process for delivery not associated with the city retail dispensaries. Now a summary of the zoning text amendments related to indoor commercial cannabis cultivation. Early this year, the committee recommended granting up to 5 indoor-only commercial cannabis cultivation licenses and allowing these uses in 6 potential locations. These locations align with the same locations where cannabis manufacturing, distribution, and testing are currently allowed, with the exception of the Rose Santa Clara Corridor Specific Plan area. So here are some maps from 2018 showing the council approved locations for manufacturing, distribution, and testing on the left, and on the right of the screen, cultivation. Manufacturing, distribution, testing was basically approved in 7 areas of the city in 2018, whereas cultivation was approved in 4 areas. We are proposing that the indoor commercial cannabis cultivation aligns with the same locations where cannabis manufacturing, distribution, and testing is currently allowed, with the exception of the Rose Santa Clara Corridor Specific Plan area, which is 6 areas within the city. Those areas include Sakiota Farm Specific Plan, McInnes Ranch Specific Plan area, Northfield Seagate Specific Plan area, Channel Islands Business Center, Statham Business Park, and Arcturus Avenue. The proposed regulations for indoor commercial cannabis cultivation follow established best practice recommendations. They can be found in section 11-487. A cultivation and operation an operator's plan shall be required, which identify the types of cannabis plants to be grown, cultivation schedule of activities during each month of growing and harvesting, and anticipated harvesting schedules for all season harvesting. A projected water usage plan. This shall include a water conservation and recycling measure for capture and reuse of on-site water. An energy usage and conservation plan, which identifies the sources of power, projected monthly and yearly usage, and efficiency plan, including the use of on-site renewables. A neighborhood compatibility plan, which shall address odor, security, and safety concerns. And finally, a floor plan identifying the location, dimensions, and boundaries of all the proposed canopy areas. So the next steps. The revisions will be presented to all the cannabis operators late this month, June of 2023. With the approval of the indoor commercial cannabis cultivation regulations, staff will begin preparing application paperwork and develop the review protocol. This process to secure indoor cannabis cultivators is envisioned to take approximately 12 months. With regards to the recommendation, staff recommends that the Planning Commission opens a public hearing and receives public testimony, and adopts a resolution recommending that the City Council approves amendments to the Oxnard City Code pertaining to the regulation of cannabis manufacturing, distribution, and testing, and retail dispensaries, and an amendment to the Oxnard City Code, chapters 11 and 16, to allow up to 5 indoor commercial cannabis cultivators in 6 identified areas of the city. This concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.